A lot of you may not have watched my video about when I found all the college textbooks, but I just sold one on Amazon, and this isn't actually one that was in that video. It's just one from another batch I found. But this one here, new 115. The lowest one used is 47. Mine was in very good condition, so I had it listed for like 58 and some change. And I just sold today. I think I've had it maybe for a year or so, and I just finally sold. But yeah, that's a good thing about them textbooks. You know, like a lot of the books you find are just, you know, like the mass-produced ones, and they're not worth anything because there's so much competition on Amazon. But you get the rare books, and especially the college textbooks, because, you know, there's just a high demand for those. And there's not, you know, there's not, even though they're mass-produced, they're not, you know, super mass-produced, and they're constantly, you know, going out of use. You know, every few years the instructors will use different textbooks and stuff, because that's just how that works. I'll show you a trick on how to ship books if you get into selling them. When I learned this, it made life a lot easier for me. And you may have done this before and know what to do, but you know, there's going to be some people who watch this that have never done it before, and this will really make your life a lot easier and save you a lot of time and hassle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark. I'll put this book here, and this book actually is the same size as the natural folds in this box, so it's easier no matter what. But that's just kind of nice when it's like that. But I'm just going to mark where this book ends. See, I lined it up even here. I'm just going to mark where this book ends, like that. And I'm just going to take it like this and cut it in like a capital T shape. Just going to cut it like this. See what I'm saying? Alright, so I got my capital T box here, and see how that works like that. I actually trimmed the edges to make it weigh as least as possible. And my goal is to make this book weigh under 5 pounds. The book weighs 4 pounds, 2 ounces. I just don't want to go over 5 pounds because it'll just make it a little more expensive. But see how that works, and then you just fold these up here like this. See how that works like that. You just fold that over there like that, and then you go like this. See how you just fold it up like that, and then now if I put my camera on a tripod it'd be better, but you get the idea. It's just real nice. And I'm actually gonna trim this piece off right here. See that? I don't need that. That's just excess. So you can see how slick that works. You know, if you've never seen that before, you know, that just made your life easier right there. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. And I of course I didn't mention that part yet, but I just use this, you know, some packing paper, put that pre-wrap on the book. You know, people open that up and it's a real nice looking product. So that's just how I do it right there. So there's a finished product right there, and it's a nice looking little dude right there. I want to show you that person's name. I don't give out that person's name, but I just put my own little branding on there, and that's a nice little product. Got it all taped up nice. You know, someone just spent $63 on this, so you know, I'm not gonna send them off some cheap, poor product. So someone will open that up and they'll be real happy. I put a $5 coupon in there and a little note, you know, saying if there's anything wrong at all, you know, just holler at me and I'll fix it, you know. And so, you know, just people open that up and they'll be real happy, you know. All ready to go. Look at that bad boy. Someone threw out their saltwater aquarium. I'm pretty sure that was all real coral in there. All living, like one of those living rock deals. Ah, look at that. Let's see how the bottom of the aquarium's cracked. Whoever did this dropped that in there, and it looks like it landed on top of that TV. Just at a bad angle, and it cracked the whole bottom of that. That's actually probably a good thing, because if that wasn't cracked, I'd be tempted to take that home and fill it up with water and see if there was any life in them rocks. You know, that right there would probably get me into the saltwater aquarium hobby if it wasn't cracked. So being cracked might be a good thing. I already have enough I already have enough aquariums and stuff, but oh, that's, you know, that would just be a sensational find, you know, if that wasn't cracked and I took it home and, you know, did the saltwater thing the right way and see if any of this is still alive. That's pretty dried up. It looks like it's been here. Looks like it's been dry for quite some time now that I feel it. So there's probably no life in there. But yeah, that's just a shame there. I think that was one of those living rock deals. Actually, probably quite expensive once upon a time. Huh. Oh well. I am going to take this cord off of here though. Ah. I don't see any other equipment for that in here. It looks like that tank's just been sitting around somewhere for a long time and they finally threw it out. But yeah, that would have been a neat find. I know that living rock and them living corals, they're not cheap at all. They're actually fairly expensive if I know what I'm talking about. Oh well, more brassy bits. Garden hoses aren't the only hoses that'll have those. Those are nice. I just got to take that clamp off of there. But that's nice clean brass right there. They don't look like much, but that's maybe 3 ounces. You know, 3 ounces here and there, and you know, eventually you'll have a pound. So it adds up. You know, cutting those ends off hoses like that with a nice pair of snips. I mean, you can just do that in a matter, you know, literally just in a few seconds. So that's always worth it to take them guys. I'm here at the auction house dumpster, and there's a little metal in here. Oh, you know what? I thought that was gonna be tin, and I was gonna tell you it was tin. But those actually, all those chairs are aluminum, so that's a nice score. But I'm kind of in a hurry to get up to the scrapyard, and I was hoping they were gonna be tin. And I was gonna tell you I was just gonna leave them here, but now they're aluminum, and that makes them too valuable to pass up. So I'm gonna have to snatch them up. But I want to show you those books down there. All those books. It's just a bunch of mass-produced stuff. It'll be like Reader's Digest and that kind of stuff, and they're really not worth anything. But you know, for books to be worth something, they usually got to be, you know, really old or rare or textbooks. Otherwise, on Amazon, there's just too much competition, and you know, it just drives the price way down. But yeah, shoot, that threw a monkey wrench in my plans there. I was gonna tell you that was tin, and I was going to there's another scale, old dirty one. I was gonna tell you those were tin, and I was gonna come over here and get to the subject of why I turned the camera on. I got a nice little load going. But the sewing machine here, that's a fairly common deal, and they're almost always aluminum. Almost this whole thing is aluminum. This little piece of plastic up here, but that's aluminum. This aluminum, that's aluminum. This is all aluminum. But see, it's got metal in it though. See, so, and it's got, you know, inside there there'll be more metal. So these always gotta go as aluminum breakage, but you know, they're heavy little dudes. And you know, sometimes you might find one that works, so that's just an added bonus. But these are always nice. You know, they're not. That's not plastic or nothing. That's aluminum. So you know, they're heavy and easy to carry. So they're always worth taking. But well, shoot. Guess I'm gonna have to tear these up real quick. That's just something I can't pass up there. I figured I'd show you this because sometimes these pieces of fabric can be just a bear cat to get out of there. They're down these grooves with these plastic tubes in there. And this frame happens to be all aluminum. Even the bolts and the nuts, it's all aluminum. A lot of times this will be a tin bar. But, and you know, you have to take that off to get clean aluminum. But this whole frame is entirely aluminum. So I just went like this. And see, this was stuck down that groove. And I just took a screwdriver, you know, and got it started. Both sides. And now you can just go like this and just see how it just comes out of there. This left side's a little in there, a little stronger, but you can just yank it out of there, and that makes the process easier, you know, because I used to try to pull them out, and you can pull them out of there too, but sometimes, but this one wouldn't pull out, so I just took that screwdriver and pried it out of there, and this whole thing will yank out of there. It's hard doing it one-handed, but it'll all come out of there. I think you got the idea. And that whole thing's aluminum. There was also 2 table stands in there that's all aluminum. But so that's that. I just yanked that out of there. Same on that one. That's always a nice little score there. All right, so all that aluminum I just took apart, took that fabric off of. It weighed 44 pounds, so that was definitely a good score. But there was actually 4 pounds of it. The back of one of those lounge chairs, I couldn't get that fabric out. You know, that stuff's designed, you know, to support, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of weight. So it's, you know, it's designed to hold up. And I actually bent my screwdriver trying to get that thing out of there. And it was actually worse than that. I bent it back already, but so I just left it. You know, it was only 4 pounds. I got the good stuff out of it. But also in that dumpster at that auction site was this camera bag, and it's actually a really nice one. So I have 2 smaller ones. I actually found that one too, but this is a nice one because it's got, you know, a little extra support and you know, thicker walls. And inside of it was a little tripod, a little perfectly functional tripod. You know, that's like perfect for like a, I mean, that's perfect for a, you know, just like a little action camera or something. That's just real handy. You know, it's just perfect fine for me. You know, and I can fit all my stuff in there. You know, so now instead of carrying around 2 bags, I can use this one. It's nice. It's just, you know, you just start amazing yourself if you go out and do this for a while. You know, like there'll be something that you need, like in the back of your mind. You know, you need to go buy something, and you just go out and dumpster diving, and then you like actually find the exact thing you wanted. You know, and then, you know, like this, and then you can literally, you know, just start upgrading. You know, I just upgraded to a nice bag. So yeah, it's a little dusty. I just need to wipe it off. It's actually in like new condition. Just get that dust off of there. I'm gonna get it dusty anyway. So, and also in there was this little fake Oscar guy. So that might come in handy down the road sometime. Give that to myself for like 100,000 views or something stupid. But I'm not at the auction house anymore. I went to one of these big dumpsters here, and you know, you didn't see anything in there, and then I just saw just the end of this wire sticking up out of that box over there. I went and I grabbed that, and well, it's got some cheap stuff connected to the end there, but you can see the rest of it is real good #1 insulated copper wire. It's, you know, it doesn't look like much, you know, but that's 2 or 3 pounds. So, you know, that's $2 or $3. You know, I mean, it just took me, you know, about 60 seconds to look up there and grab that. So that's just, you know, you start to pick stuff up pretty quick. Oh, I wanted to show you this. That's a working light bulb right there. I'll never buy light bulbs again. But I looked in here and saw some books down there. I yanked them out already. And you know, you find books like this, you always want to take a flyer on them and run them through Amazon and see what they're worth. You always want to take a flyer on this kind of stuff. See, it might not be anything, but there might be I don't think it's a textbook, but it's probably not worth anything, and I'll probably just end up donating them to the library. But there's 3 of those books. Looks like they're part of a larger series, but they're in brand new, you know, they're in like new, very good condition. And then the rest of these books, this case of books, those are stuffed in, or these, I'm not sure what they are, but whatever that is, I don't know. I'm gonna run it through Amazon and see what it is, you know, but I'm definitely gonna take this home. I mean, you don't know. It could be worth absolutely nothing, or it could be worth, that you could be looking at $100 right there. It's probably nothing, but I'm definitely going to find out. Oh, and actually, this brings me to a good point. I should probably point this out, like, because my last video I talked about, someone freaking out. They were just doing it for fun, yelling at me. But that person was just doing it for fun. It was just entertainment. But for legitimate people who are legitimately concerned that that you're digging in their garbage, that's why people shred this paper. You know what I mean? So no one can dig through the garbage and get information. Because there are criminals out there that that do identity theft and stuff. So it's a legitimate concern for someone when they see someone digging in their garbage. So what I do, and what you should do, I'm just giving you a real valuable thing. What you should do if you do this is you should have yourself some sort of identification card that you can hand them, and it doesn't have to be your name and address and phone number, but like I have a website right there where I list a lot of the stuff I find in the garbage. Well, not a lot, but some. Not as much as I'd like it. This site wasn't real successful, but it's still up and running. But I'll hand them that. It's a $5 coupon for my website, and I can just say, it's my website. I'm the person that runs it. So just something just simple like that can identify you. And when someone realizes that you're just willingly identifying yourself, and giving them a way to find out who you are, that just right there, that just diffuses everything. It doesn't have to be anything special, just, on a piece of paper, just like, you can write your first name or, whatever, and your email address, or, just some kind of vague identification, just to give someone that, just to make them know that, you're just dumpster diving for profit and fun and seeking treasure, and you're not out there stealing identity and credit card numbers and social security numbers, and because it is a legitimate concern for people, So you always just want to, no matter what happens, just be polite, and take the submissive stance, and just okay, yeah, I'm leaving, all right, and then offer them a little card like that, and it just diffuses the whole situation for you. So just keep it friendly at all, all the time. And so yeah, just that's a good idea, just to have those cards. Make up, they don't even have to be a card, just a piece of printed out on paper, and cut it into cards like the one I just showed you, and just keep those in your wallet, or your purse, or your pocket, well, they'll get mangled in your pocket, but I keep mine in my wallet. So I'll stop talking now. I think you got the idea. That actually brings me to another point. You don't know whose garbage you're looking in also. So you always want to identify yourself as just a dumpster diver, just a trash picker, because you very well might stumble into a drug dealer's garbage, or some other sort of criminal or something, so you just don't know who might approach you in these situations. So you always want to just identify yourself and make it clear, you're just a dumpster diver, and and always take the submissive, always diffuse the situation, and just let that person know exactly what you're doing, right away. So yeah, I mean, those are just some of the things I can think of. There's probably 1,000 things I can't think of. So just be prepared, run that stuff through your mind, what you'll do in certain situations when people approach you. Just be ready to say, no, I'm just, looking for scrap metal, or I'm looking for cans, or I'm looking for stuff to sell on eBay, and so you never know what you're dealing with. So just be prepared, beforehand. So I saw these blinds sitting here. They were nice aluminum blinds, and got to looking, some nice looking boots. I mean, they're not great, but they're actually damaged now that I look at them. But I guess we got a sealed box here, so it's time for a episode of Mystery Box Theater. And get this nasty thing out of the way. And it's heavy. It's real heavy. It's definitely got a lot of stuff in it. You know, and judging by these 2 boxes over here, you know, it's making me think there might be some really good stuff in here. So get the handy screwdriver, crack it open, see what we're dealing with. And we have really strong tape. Oh, you're kidding me. Wow. I need to work two-handed. That's what I need to do. There we go. Alrighty. Let's see what we got. Oh, it's just a bunch of kids' clothes. That's no good. That's no good. Oh, it's just a big old box of clothes. Oh, there's something down there. What is that? What's that thing? What's that thing right there? That might be something. I'm not sure what that is. It's numbered 1 through 31 plus. I don't know what that is. I don't have any idea what that is, but it's interesting, so we're going to set it there. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Almost looks like a... Oh, I bet that's what it is, all these kids' clothes. I bet it's like a preschool or a kindergarten deal. Like every kid has their slot for like little projects or whatever, like a little mailbox kind of deal. Maybe. Yeah, it's just a big old box of worn clothes. Nothing of sellable value really. But I'll do the old indicator thing. Put this big red dude right here like this so somebody can come by and see it. And get rid of this nasty piece of garbage so it doesn't scare people away. Put this here like this so, you know, you almost guarantee you someone's gonna come and see this, you know, this stuff will get someone's attention. And someone will come and have a look. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this stuff disappears. You know, that might be really valuable to somebody, but those boots are damaged. Most of this stuff's probably gonna be damaged. It's in the garbage for a reason. Just worn. Well, I mean, a lot of people would like to have stuff like this, you know. That's gross, but I put this up here where somebody might see it, you know. Put this up here like this. It'll get someone's attention and come over here. That's nothing I'm gonna deal with, but a lot of this stuff would be donatable items. You know, it's trash. A lot of it's just trash, though. But you know, definitely some usable stuff in here too. So we'll just put that there like that. So you know, it's not making a mess. No one's gonna care about that. So people will be walking their dogs. A lot of people will drive by here and stuff. I can't do anything with this, so a lot of that should disappear. I don't know what to do with this. I think I'll just put it back up here like that. Someone might see it. See it sitting there. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing disappears too, but that's nothing I'm gonna deal with. That's not too bad.